Hey guys, I want to talk a little bit about, well, three real kicks and a little bit about the spot on the wall system that most people have probably heard about. Um, I don't personally believe that the spot on the wall system is all that it's hyped up to be, but it can be kind of useful in some cases. The problem that I have with it is that it doesn't talk about adjustments and it doesn't say what the distance needs to be for this spot on the wall. In this case, I have a rock wall down here, so it's easy for me to pick out a spot and keep that in mind. So the general consensus is I get here and I happen to know that on this table from this corner, a three rail kick from this corner to this diamond with running English will very often put the one ball in this case. The spot on the wall system says that if I go from this corner to that second diamond, find a spot on the wall behind it somewhere, then no matter where the cue ball is, I can, in theory, aim at that same spot. You have to make adjustments, and the distance needs to be correct. I don't know what the proper distance is for a spot on the wall. I just know that it varies. I think I read one time that whatever this distance is from this rail track to this rail track, if you do that again, that should be the distance that the spot on the wall is. I don't remember where I read that. It may not have been a credible source. People have opinions about most aiming methods, and people have opinions about this. And usually the person that says it can do it the way they're saying it, but trying to get somebody else to do it the exact same way doesn't work. I don't know. So now the cue ball is not in this corner. It's not even on the same line. It's over here. But the theory is I can aim straight at that same spot on that same wall with the same English, and it comes around and puts the ball in. If the cue ball is up here, and this time it's on the left side of that original line. And I can do the same thing again, aim it at the same spot on the same wall with the same English, and comes around and goes in. Ish. Barely made it that time. But I've been playing this kind of shot for a long time, so I pretty much guarantee that I'm doing like little tweaks and stuff that even I'm not aware of when I shoot that kind of thing. But now I got that out of the way, I want to talk about a very common shot that comes up in one pocket. And it's not kicking to make ball. We're going to pretend this is just a bunch of balls. So your opponent has this pocket, and they broke, and he left the cue ball here and a bunch of balls in the way. Most people that play a lot of one pocket understand that kicking off of that short rail and straight back here, straight back like this to try to get the one ball here it's not a very safe shot. Another one of the things that I just forgot to mention is, remember I said I was using running English on a shot. You may ask, what I asked when somebody was first showing this to me, what do I mean when I say running English? Well, left English. Okay, what do you mean when you say left English? 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30, doesn't really matter. This three rail kick is kind of self-correcting in a lot of cases. So I'm going back to my regular baseline again now. And my normal running English would be hit it about 10 o'clock. And so that's what I did before. This time I'm going to hit it at about 9:30 at that same spot, but at about 9:30. So it hits the same spot here, but then it hits different spots on the other two cushions. Then go back to the same thing. Now I'm going to hit it at like 11:30. Just the amount of spin that it has. There's a lot of self-correction that happens on that kind of shot. And the whole point of me just doing that little demonstration is on a one rail kick, like if I just want to just try to kick the cue ball back to here, any little deviation that I make greatly affects and greatly screws up the shot. Whereas the three rail kick, there can be some self-correction that happens. But on one rail kick, any deviation can make things a heck of a lot worse. A little bit of right English in this one rail kick situation goes a long way. A little bit of left English goes a long way. The differences in the speed really change things. So, pretty darn simple in this case to get the line right if you've been playing for a length of time, but not as simple to hit it at exactly the proper speed and English and all that to get it to go in. So that ball came up short. I was trying to do this. I can't even do it with my hand. I was trying to do something like that. So three rail kick in a lot of cases is a lot easier, and you'll see the top one block players shoot. If they're stuck like this, they don't have anything else that they can do. A lot of them will shoot a three rail kick and try to get the cue ball back here. And I don't know if they're using the spot on the wall or they started using the spot on the wall and now they're just going by feel or whatever. There's a lot of those guys are really, really good at it. So what I have to do is I just have to remember that I'm not trying to kick this cue ball three rails into this corner anymore. I'm trying to kick the cue ball three rails to hit about right here. So 3/4 of a diamond up from this corner. Then I have to make an adjustment when I do that. If I want to come 3/4 of a diamond up this way, I need to come 3/4 of a diamond up this way. So instead of aiming at that line, along this line, I have to go 3/4 of a diamond up. And that's if I was coming from here. So let's come from the corner to right here. This should land me about right here. Assuming that the English is good and the speed is good and the pool gods don't hate me and all that. It should come around like that and hit about like that. That's one of the adjustments that just needs to be made. If the ball is on this side of the line, it's the same thing. You have to do the same thing. I want to come, you kind of get a feel, okay, what are you going to do? What's the cue ball going to do? I want to come in about like this time. So maybe a half diamond. So instead of aiming at that spot on the wall place down there, I aim at that plus a half diamond up, a half diamond towards me. And line up with that, a half diamond, ring English. If the ball is on this side of this baseline, I guess, I have to make the same kind of adjustment. You just kind of get a feel for it. What's the cue ball going to do? In this case, I want the cue ball to probably hit a diamond up to give myself the best chance of coming in here and not scratching. So I'm going to adjust it by an entire diamond. So I'm going to aim at the same spot that I have on the same wall over here with the same English, but I'm going to adjust it up a diamond towards me. So I can find that spot and adjust it up. So in this case, I'm actually aiming the cue ball about right there. In this case, same English, trying to get the same speed, and let it come around. So that was a little bit high. It came in a little bit too high. So don't make as much of an adjustment. Don't aim it here anymore. Aim it, maybe 3/4 of the way up. Let's see if that's any better. A lot of people kind of accuse me of like contradicting myself because I do say, hey, I'm trying to be a field player. I try to play by feel and all that. But then I'll talk about crap like this and measuring stuff out and spots on the wall and all that. There's a difference. When I'm trying to figure something out, I absolutely will let my analytical side try to figure it out, try to help my inner pool player figure it out. It's when I get into competition, that's when I try to let my inner pool player go, okay, you shoot the shot. Go for it. And a lot of times that does work. The next thing I want to talk about is more advanced stuff. This is the stuff that, like Tony Chohan's just super fantastic at this kind of shot. So still playing the game in one pocket. This is still the opponent's pocket. Still can't see the one, but this time my ball kind of leaked out. I could still go kick 3 rails back to here. I have to worry a little bit in this case about hitting the 3 on the way across, on the way this way. But let's say that I wasn't worried about that. I could do that. I could do the same thing I did earlier. Move like that, try to get the cue ball down here. But what the top players will do is recognize they can come off of that 3, send the cue ball towards that spot on the wall. And then meanwhile, the 3 is going to bank, not necessarily back into their pocket, but it's not going to be on their opponent's side anymore, not favoring their opponent anymore. And so this kind of thing they do this a lot. Some players are better at it than others. Most players are better at it than I am. But what I usually do on a shot like this, so I have the spot on the wall thing. So I'll point at it like this. And I take this 90-degree line, and it points right there. So I know if I cut the 3 at that point, that the cue ball is going to go off of that carom line towards that spot on the wall. So there's that, and that's cool. The other thing is when the cue ball hits this 3, it's going to get a little bit of, in this case, left English, as it's rubbing against the 3. It's going to get just a little bit. So usually my normal left-running English is like 10 o'clock on the cue ball. But because I know it's going to get a little bit of left English, I don't put quite as much on it. I hit it about 10:30, maybe 11. And because I want the cue ball to be sliding, I don't go very far off of center. I don't know if this makes a whole lot of sense here. Maybe I should come up here. So instead of hitting it at 10 o'clock, I'm going to hit it at about 10:30, but closer to the center of the cue ball. If you guys could see that, if that was even lit up well enough. That's what I'm going to do, because I want the cue ball to not be rolling when it hits the 3. I want it to kind of be sliding. So just a little punch, and try to keep in mind where I don't want to cut the 3. If I cut the 3 here with a sliding cue ball, then the cue ball is going to go towards that line. And that's all I just try to do. And I'm not the master of this shot by any stretch of the imagination. What's that going to do? So that would have worked. Obviously, the 3 wasn't going to go in. There's all these balls, but I got it away from up here where it would go for my opponent really easily. And that kind of shot happens a lot. And a lot of times, those kind of shots, you can make the shot. You can make it. You can be in a situation, very similar situation. This time the 3 will go. It might not go with a triangle here, but there could just be a cluster of balls here. And the 3 might actually go. It might actually bang. So you kind of do the same thing. Point the spot on the wall from here, not from here, but from here. take my 90 degrees. That looks like if I cut the 3 at this diamond with this sliding cue ball like I talked about. If I hit it right, then that ball can come around like that. And yeah, probably sold out that particular shot, but I'm not the master of that shot or really any shot. If you play a lot in one pocket, I think this kind of thing is very, very useful. You know how to do it. You feel confident about it. And beyond that, hey, if I do something, my opponent is going to put me in jail. If I'm playing somebody like Tony, at least I know enough right now that I'm not going to leave him this shot if this is his pocket. Because he can put me in jail. He can make the 3, and even if he doesn't make the 3, he can put the cue ball here. So I'll try to figure out something else. So by knowing it, it doesn't just help me to potentially make it, but it helps me to, potentially know not to leave it for my opponent. I feel like I'm way long. So I'm hitting that ball bad right now. I think I explained it maybe well enough to understand what I'm trying to do here. Those are kind of shots that can turn a game around. And you don't want to leave that for your opponent and let them turn the game around. You got a ball 3 inches from your pocket, and they just turn the game around on you. You don't want that to happen. But it does, and it can. Maybe if you know what to look for, then you kind of know what to avoid, what not to leave your opponent. And you get better at them, and you see an opportunity like that, and you know it's going to be pretty safe because you're not going to suck too bad at hitting it. You're going to hit it halfway decent. You can go ahead and shoot it. Maybe turn the game around on them. Thanks, guys.